fans, welcome back to the Casuals. I'm Alec. To my right is the famous co-host Carlos, and in this video, we'll be taking a look at UFC Vegas 27 main card, Cody Garbrandt versus Rafont. Let's get into it. But before we get into it, a quick shout out to our sponsors, Red Bull. Give you wings.
That's a monster. What are you doing?
Oh, no shit. It's pretty good. Oh, I look like a clown. All right. Wow. This card is kind of...
No. What's going on here?
What?
What the f*** are you wearing? You got a... Boy said...
What happened?
You got a film at 7 o'clock. You got a race at 10 for 24-hour Le Mans or something you're not telling me about?
It's the Mustang EcoBoost race. I have an EcoBoost, yeah. Is there a problem? Something I said? Moving forward, let's take a look at this card. The main card, that is. Wow. Kind of cheese. I mean, holy shit. We can still make this work. Let's take a look at the first fight. You have Jack Hermansson, 21-6. He is the favorite, -160. Hermansson Vs Shahbazyan, 11-1. He's the underdog, +140. Hermansson, the seasoned grizzled vet, versus Shahbazyan, young buck looking to move up in the rankings. I take a look at Hermansson's opponents. Nice win from David Branch, round 1 submission. He beat Jacare Souza, unanimous decision. Calvin Gastelum, round 1 submission. He did lose to Marvin Vettori, but he did go the full distance, 5 full rounds. He got a couple good takedowns, and he landed 139 strikes. So decent fight, nice performance. He's looking to get another win in the win column. Number 7, like I said, trying to move up in the top 5 at least. Let's look at Hermansson Vs Shahbazyan's opponents. Got a nice round 1 TKO win against Charles Bird. Good win, Jack Marshman, round 1 submission. I don't really know Jack Marshman that much, but he got that win. And then he got another win against Brad Tavares, round 1 TKO. And then he tries to take on a bigger name, fights Derek Brunson. He gets his ass handed to him. He gets fucking whooped. He loses round 3 TKO, and Brunson took this kid to school with the takedowns. He landed, I don't know the official stats, but I'm pretty sure it's 100 plus strikes compared to Shahbazyan's 33. Wasn't that much of a good fight. Kind of a learning lesson for Shahbazyan, just showing, hey, there's level to this. Yes, you've got a couple good wins, but let's be honest, you're against some no-name opponents. So what do you think about this fight, Carlos?
This fight was actually supposed to be in 262's card, but it got moved back. Look, it's an interesting fight. You got Jack Hermansson, who's one of the top middleweights in the UFC. You got Shahbazyan, who's a really good prospect. He's 11-1, like you mentioned. He had a nice upbringing into the UFC. You know, he came on Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. He TKO'd his opponent in emphatic fashion. And he goes on a tear with a nice 4-fight winning streak in the UFC. Then, like you said, he actually faces the upper echelon talent. He gets Derek Brunson, the big test. Even though he did land some good shots against Derek Brunson, because that's his strong suit, is the stand-up. Derek was just too much for him. Once he was able to get the takedown, he was basically able to do whatever he wanted to Shahbazyan. I mean, it was to the point where at the end of the second round, he almost completely took him out, and it didn't really take that much after. 26 seconds into the third, he again takes him down on the ground and grounds and pounds him until the ref calls it off. So I feel like Shahbazyan kind of got the shit end of the stick here. He probably moved up too fast for a prospect like him. He's got some good potential. He's a very exciting fighter. He always goes forward, always tries to get the finish. You know, he's got 9 KOs, 1 submission, and only 1 decision. So you know he's going to bring it. But Hermansson, he's been in the game longer. He's faced top-tier opponents longer. You know, he got that great win against Gastelum, that quick heel hook. His strong suit, again, kind of like Derek Brunson, is grappling. It's on the ground. So I think if Shahbazyan isn't really able to make up for that in such short time, even though he fought 9 months ago, the time it takes to bring your ground game up to the level of a Derek Brunson or Hermansson, I mean, it could take
a year at least.
5-10 years,
10
actually.
Years. Sheesh.
To make up that type of talent on the ground, it's just something you train for a very long time, where secondhand nature. You can't just we've seen it with other fighters in the past where you just can't train hard for 1 year wrestling and think, oh, I can go up against these top tier guys who've been wrestling their whole lives. It just doesn't work like that. But every fight starts standing. That's his best chance right there. At the end of the day, I'm going with the safe bet here. I'm going with Hermansson, probably by submission in the second round.
Submission second round. That's a good take. I'm going for Hermansson as well. I don't think Edmund, he took a beating. I hope hopefully took a lot of notes in that Brunson fight, because you have to do some serious takedown defense, especially with Hermansson. Hermansson is almost a clone of Brunson, because he does stand up and strike as well, and he's gonna take you down. So we'll see how that plays out. I got Hermansson round 3 decision. Moving on, we have David Dvorak, 19-3. He is the favorite, -150 versus Raulian Paiva, 20-3. He's the underdog at +130. What can you tell us about this, Carlos?
Well, basically, you got another bout in the flyweight division. You got a couple up and comers. Dvorak, who's on a crazy 15-fight winning streak, versus Paiva, who's on only a 2-fight winning streak. Before that, he went on a killing in previous promotions. Paiva came in Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, put on a decent fight, came out with a split decision versus Alan Nascimento, but then he goes on in his first fight in the UFC against Kai Kara-France, loses a split decision, and then gets a unfortunate TKO doctor stoppage against Rogerio Bonterin, who we just saw last weekend. Then he fights Mark De La Rosa, KOs him, and then he fights Zumagulov, who's got the best UFC picture I've ever seen in my whole life.
Best profile pic, grade A.
So you got, a kind of a closely contested fight here. Expect this to stay standing up. I think I'll go with the favorite here. He's only favorite -150 versus Paiva, who's +125 underdog. But I don't know, Dvorak, he's got a lot of finishes compared to Paiva, who's got a whopping 13 decisions out of his 20 fights.
Oof.
I think Dvorak gets this done in a 3-round decision.
Unfortunately, I don't know these fighters too much. I did take a look at Dvorak's record and his previous promotions. Very impressive. Nice little win streak. I have seen Paiva in a couple of fights. Not too impressive. This is a flyweight bout. Not saying flyweight bouts aren't fun, but I think you're right. Dvorak takes this round 3 decision. Okay, next on the card, we have Felicia Spencer, 8-2, who's a huge favorite, -350 versus Norma Dumont, 5-1 +285 underdog. One thing I will give Felicia Spencer, she's tough as hell. She's fought Chris Cyborg. She did lose that bout, but she has gone 5 rounds with Amanda Nunes. She did get pummeled those whole 5 rounds, but she didn't give up. I mean, you got that. There's an 8-2 record. She did take out Megan Anderson. A big win for her. I take a look at Dumont's previous promotion she fought at. Xiaonan Brazil? How do you pronounce it?
Xiaonan Brazil.
Xiaonan Brazil. Never heard of it. I look at her last 2 fights. She's lost to Megan Anderson. She did beat Ashley Evans Smith. I mean, it's a women's fight. We'll see what happens. I got Felicia Spencer just because she's a huge favorite in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Felicia Spencer as well. Norma Dumont is just kind of green in the gills. She's 5-1. She's only 2 fights in the UFC. She got KO'd by Megan Anderson in her first fight, and then she took Ashley Evans Smith to decision. Ashley Evans Smith is a 6-5 fighter.
Oof.
So just above 500 compared to Felicia's 8-2 at least. And she's gone against 2 of one of the best women's fighters in WMMA history. Chris Cyborg, she went all 3 rounds with. And then, as you mentioned, Nunes, she went all 5 rounds with. So I think she's going to use her advantage here, which is the ground game. She's going to submit Dumont in the 3rd round.
Submission. Nice. Let's see what we got next. We have Justin Tafa, 4-2. He's the favorite, -205 versus Jared Vanderaa, 11-5, underdog +175. Carlos, what can you tell us about this one?
Well, again, not the highest ranked opponents we have on this main card, but Justin Tafa, he's kind of an exciting fighter. He's part of that, Australian group of fighters. Like, I'm sure you've heard of Tai Tuivasa. Crazy guys who just have not necessarily the best stand-up, but they just go for it.
Big boys.
Justin Tafa is 4-2. All of his 4 wins came via KO, but he's struggled in his last fight. In January 16th of this year, he lost against Carlos Felipe in a split decision. His previous win was against Juan Adams. He TKO'd him last year in February. But as you know, Juan Adams, not in the UFC anymore. Really didn't do anything in the UFC for that matter. And then you have Jared Vanderaa, who's 11-5. He's got 7 KOs and 3 submissions on his record and only 1 decision. So someone also who just goes for it. He came into the UFC by way of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. And then his first fight in the UFC, he gets knocked out by Sergey Spivak, but not necessarily the worst loss you can have. Sergey, who also beat Tai Tuivasa, who had a close match with Marcin Tybura. He actually beat Carlos Felipe, someone who Justin Tafa's lost for. So I don't want to do MMA math necessarily here, but this fight is straight up toss-up. There really isn't an edge either way. You have one fighter who has more fights, but not against the greatest opponents. Same way the other way. As far as who to go for, Justin Tafa, who's a -205 favorite. I'm gonna go with that this time. I'm gonna go with the safe Vegas bet, so to speak. What about you, Alec?
I like Tafa. He's part of that Aussie crew. Big boys, pack a punch. They bring the fight. I'm gonna change it up. Go with Vanderaa. I've gone with all the favorites. There has to be an upset, so I'm gonna go with Vanderaa in this one. Round 2 TKO. I've seen a couple of Tafa's fights. He does bring a lot of energy in the first round, but that man gets gassed quick. So if Vanderaa can somehow survive that first round of craziness, whoever Tafa brings, and the second round turn it up a bit, Tafa gets gassed, hey, could be TKO. You never know. So I'll go with Jared Vanderaa, round 2 TKO. All right, so moving on to the co-main. I do know a little bit about these 2 ladies. We have Vian Xiaonan, 13-1. She is the favorite, -185, versus the seasoned vet Carla Esparza, 18-6, coming in as the underdog, +160. So if Yan, she's going on an 11-fight win streak. Some noticeable, impressive wins I've seen are against Angela Hill, Carolina Kowalkiewicz, Claudia Gadelha. She's proven to the strawweight division, hey, I'm number 3 ranked, and guess what? I'm coming for that belt. So, Rose should be kind of scared. So can you tell me about what can you tell me about Carla Esparza, Carlos?
Carla Esparza, also known as the Cookie Monster. She's 17-6, and she's actually the original strawweight UFC champion. But as you all know, then her next fight, she defended against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and she absolutely got pummeled and got KO'd. But when she won that belt, she did beat Rose Namajunas via rear naked choke. But after she lost the belt, she just kind of goes back and forth, trying to work her way back. Eventually, she gets a title eliminator fight against Claudia Gadelha, and she loses, split decision. She also went and got pummeled by Tatiana Suarez, just controlled her on the ground, and eventually finished her in the 3rd round. Tatiana Suarez, by the way, who is my dark horse pick to eventually be the strawweight champion. Hopefully she's able to get over her injuries, but it's been a minute since we've seen her fight. So then Carla rattles off 4 wins. She has a very impressive win against Alexa Grasso, who's also could be a future title challenger, who's had some really good fights in the past. And you had a win against Michelle Waterson, who at one point challenged for the title. Then you got one of her impressive wins was her last one against Marina Rodriguez. As you know, Marina and Michelle Waterson actually just fought each other a few weeks ago. And Marina, who's big, long and lanky, has really good striking, is pretty powerful. Well, she kind of went to town on Michelle Waterson. There were some parts where there was an interesting fight. For the most part, Michelle Waterson was just touching her, and Marina was actually hurting her. So the fact that Carla was able to get a split decision off of her is very impressive, in my opinion. So what do you got here? You have Carla against Jan, and even though Jan is on a tear, she's only 13-1, but Carla's gone against the better competition in her career than Jan. So, and she's also actually the underdog here. As far as who to pick, it's hard to pick these. You got one that's on the tear and one who's just a UFC veteran, but Jan is favored, -185. So I'm gonna go with her. Both of these fighters, they do have a lot of decisions on their resume. So I don't think we're gonna see any finishes here. It's probably gonna go to a 3-round decision. Jan Xionan.
respect to the Cookie Monster, Esparza, the OG strawweight champion. She's on a good win streak as well, as you mentioned. This card has a lot of up-and-comers versus seasoned vets. There's like 4 matches like that. I do respect Esparza and everything she's done, but Jan I seen a couple of her fights, man. She always has a high volume and she doesn't quit. Not saying Esparza's gonna quit, but I'm gonna have to go with the young upper-comer in this one. I'm going Jan. Like you said, it's probably gonna go decision. She gets the decision win over Esparza.
Do you think she challenges for the title if she wins?
She's ranked number 3. Well, they are still confirming that rematch with Rose and Wei Li, but if she gets this win over Esparza, and if something, she could be possibly a backup if something happens with Wei Li or Rose. So yeah, I think so. Well, who else is out there?
Not many. I don't think anyone wants to see a third Ioana Jędrzejczyk fight versus Rose. There's no rivalry there. She's beat her twice.
Yeah, no.
And Tatiana, she's still got injuries. But Alexa Grasso, she probably needs another 1 or 2 fights to get into title contention.
I agree. At least 2 wins for me.
Now, we're on the fight that everyone's here to see, that everyone's talking about. It's Cody Garbrandt versus Rob Font. You got the ex-champ versus the streaking up-and-comer title challenger. What do you think is going to happen in this fight? You got Rob Font, who's a -20 favorite against Cody. Cody, who's beaten the likes of Dominic Cruz. Cody, who's the ex-champion and had KO of the year against Rafael Sensao in his last fight. But you got Rob Font, who's on a 3-fight winning streak. He beat Sergio Perez, who, as you may know, is now a Bellator champion. You got Ricky Simon, who is also a up-and-comer contender in the bantamweight division. So then he fights Marlon Moraes, who, Marlon Moraes, as you know, had those crazy victories. That crazy knee against Aljamain Sterling, the current champ, if you can call him that. And he had, crazy knockouts versus Jimmy Rivera, Rafael Sensao. But then, when he went against Henry Cejudo, he got TKO'd when he actually tried to go for the belt. So the former title challenger, Rob Font, goes against him and TKOs him. I mean, Rob Font shows really crisp kickboxing, uses his reach, uses his legs, and then eventually he hurts Marlon Moraes and just finishes him. It was very beautiful to watch. Crazy fight, crazy knockout. But when it comes to Cody Garbrandt, who's a great striker, extremely fast, I would say probably the fastest fighter in the UFC, and someone who came off the KO of the year. Alec, please, I know you're a huge Cody Garbrandt fan. Please state your case.
Wow, I am surprised the former champ is the underdog, only plus 105. But I'm surprised, man. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I look by the categories. You look at the speed, the accuracy, the power, the combos, the volume, the footwork, all in Cody's favor. Now his chin, it's a little bit questionable. We saw the 2 TJ fights and the Pedro Munoz. The durability is suspect. He's taken some damage. What fighter hasn't? But his last performance against the Sunsao, he proved pretty darn good. He A+ in my book. He was more calm. He used all his tool sets. He used his leg kicks. He didn't fight with too much emotion than his previous fights. Now, when I say too emotional, I'm not saying, oh, well, he's not a robot. What I mean by that is, if you look back at the first 2 fights with Dillashaw, as we all know, him and Dillashaw had this huge beef. They're on the Ultimate Fighter, coach versus coach, snake in the grass. How many times knock you out, motherfucker? 0. Exactly. It was so cringe. They basically had bad blood for a couple years. TG left Team Alpha Male, talk shit. Cody, who represents Team Alpha Male, loyal to Uriah Faber. He wants to prove to his team, hey, we're the best, Team Alpha Male. Now, in the first fight, he was doing good. He was faster than TJ. He knocked down TJ. But something clicks in Cody's brain when he has you hurt. He's really aggressive. He goes in for the kill. He doesn't use his fight IQ. You go back to the Dom Cruz fight, fucking phenomenal. And I know that was about, late 2016, 5 years ago. But man, he looked fucking crisp against Dominic Cruz. Knocked him down twice. He made Dom look like his age, 30-something at the time. Just missing shot after shot. He was dancing in the ring. That was championship Garbrandt, Cody right there.
Yeah, it was like Neo versus an agent in the Matrix. It was incredible.
He was dodging fucking everything. You couldn't touch this kid. So in the first fight, he does get the knockdown. Round 2, Dillashaw, which great vet. He knows how to use his fight IQ. He adjusts well and he clips Cody. And Cody goes down and Dillashaw gets a TKO victory. So they rematch in the second fight. What happens in the second fight? Literally the exact same thing. Cody looks fine. He looks crisp. He hurts Dillashaw. Something clicks in his mind. Oh shit, let me go in for the kill and take him out. I can beat him round 1. It's a 5-round fight, man. Relax. If you look at people, if you look at former champs that have gotten people hurt, and look at the Conor McGregor fight versus Eddie Alvarez. Yes, he clips Eddie. Does he go straight in? No. He measures the distance, does a couple 1-2s, gets Eddie down, finishes the fight. You look at the Cerrone fight. Conor lands a huge head kick against Cowboy. Does he go in right away? No. He measures the distance, takes his time, 1-2s, gets Cowboy on the ground, finishes him on the ground. It's that easy. It's crazy. Cody, once he gets Dillashaw hurt in the second fight, he's like, all right, I'm going for the kill. Dillashaw backs up, gets his right hand, holds guard like he's supposed to, holds against his face. Boom. One shot. Cody eats it, goes back again. Let me come back for more. Dillashaw does the same thing, lands a second time. Garbrandt's a little bit wobbles, like, oh shit, I took that. Oh, no way he could do it a third time. He does it again for a third time. Like, dude, what the fuck? I've never seen that where it happens 3 times. You come back for haymaker after haymaker after haymaker. It blows my mind. His legs become jelly. Dillashaw recovers fast. And before you know it, it's over. In round 1, it's like, dude, what are you doing? He needs to calm down. He's not fighting with smart fight IQ like he's supposed to be. Look at the Munoz fight. Dude, what was that? They were just going back and forth. You can hear Dominic Cruz and DC like, oh, they're not even fighting. It's rock and sock and robots. I guess Garbrandt's like, all right, let me just bite down my mouthpiece and just swing blow for blow. That's what they were doing. They were just taking hook after hook, trade after trade. And guess what? Cody gets clipped in the first round. Oh, man, I'm a big Garbrandt fan, but it's tough to watch those fights when you know he has the tool set. He has the ability to beat these fighters, but he just gets this crazy rush where, oh, I need to beat this guy in the first round. Like, dude, relax, calm down. He fights a Sensao, like I said before. I did like the adjustments he made. He used a lot more of his kicks, which we don't really see Cody use a lot of his kicks. And also, he trains with Team Alpha Male and Hall of Famer Uriah Faber. I've seen him roll all the time and use his wrestling. I think he has underrated wrestling. I'm pretty sure Uriah Faber has told you before, hey, if you get tagged or rocked or in this difficult situation, use your wrestling. Take him down so you can recover on top and then get back up. Don't just, as you're rocked, hey, stand in front of this guy, you might get popped. Like, don't do that. Just don't do that. It's that simple. So, sorry about that spiel. But
that was beautiful.
Big Garbrandt fan. By the way, have you seen this man's fade? Can we put a pic on screen? Coldest fade in the game, hands down.
I've given Alec a lot of shit about Cody over the years, you know, especially the no chin jokes and all the knockouts that he suffered. But I will never front. I will never lie. Cody's got the coldest fade in the game. I have literally gone to my barber and said, see a picture of this man? This is how I want my fade.
By fade. I'm just saying, you look good, you feel good, you fucking fight good.
Sure.
But given his tool set, and no disrespect to Rob Font, you know, he's number 3. He's up there for a reason. He has great performances against Pettis. The fight against Moraes, it was outstanding. He finished the fight in emphatic fashion. Big respect. This is a good fight. Number 3 versus number 4. And whoever wins this one, you know, you're pretty much guaranteed. Well, we'll see how the Sandhagen-Dillashaw fight plays out, but you're pretty much guaranteed your next fight might be for the title. So we'll see what plays out. I think Cody has the skill set, the more tools. He has the speed, the power. If he just calms down, like he did in his Sunset fight, use his fight IQ. Don't just go in there. It's a 5-round fight. You got 5 rounds. Relax, man. If you tag him, if he gets hurt, cool. Take your time. You have all this time. We'll see what happens. I got Garbrandt win this fight. I'll say round 3.
Round 3.
TKO.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a great take. And as you know, Cody Garbrandt is now training with famous striking coach Mark Henry. Mark Henry, who has Frankie Edgar, Eddie Alvarez, Marlon Moraes, and Zabit Magomedsharipov. So Mark Henry is no joke. And I'm hoping the adjustments that he's made, Cody's a little bit smarter with his defense, a little bit more calculated, less emotional. Because, I mean, with that Cruz fight and his career before that, I believe Cody, he uses his fight IQ. He doesn't fight emotionally. He's the best bantamweight on the planet, period. I mean, I don't see
without
anybody who could challenge him besides maybe Petr Yan and, of course, TJ Dillashaw, who, you know, did beat him twice. But again, while he was fighting emotional, not fighting smart, I'm obviously picking Cody Garbrandt on this fight. I think he's got at least some momentum, even though he's only on a 1-fight win streak. He's just got so much talent, man, and he's so fast. And he's so exciting to see. So I'm willing to bet this is probably a second round KO.
Round 3, round 2. There you go.
Okay. All right, guys. So that's our take on the fights for UFC Vegas 27. Let us know how you feel. What do you think the results will be for some of these fights in the comment section below? And if you like this sort of content, you know, we really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter. I like to tweet during the fights, even try to post some highlights and stuff like that, as long as I don't get in trouble with the UFC. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take it easy. Bye, guys.